disrupted.
America that I fought.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. It's been a fantastic day so far. So there's this guy by the name of Dean Phillips, and let me show you a picture of him here. So this guy, he's running for president in the Democratic race. He seems to be kind of a Bernie Sanders-esque kind of candidate. He preaches about healthcare reforms, not in the same stance as Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All. He's basically kind of like a tiptoe around progressive Democrat, kind of that scum of, I put one foot in the establishment and one foot in the progressive side of policies and stuff like that. Who was recently interviewed by Briahna Joy Gray. And one of the things that Dean Phillips, much like the rest of the Democratic Party and other insiders are pushing, is why this genocide in Palestine, why we need to purge Gaza and slaughter a bunch of civilians, is the most important thing when it comes to democracy in the Middle East. And he just goes to the newest level of fabrication, of trying to propagandize in the most disregard way. And Briahna Joy Gray, just being a podcaster and interviewer, the personality that she is easily gonna topple him and dismantle his propaganda in the most simple action possible. It's just, it's amazing to watch these videos. And anyway, take a look at this.
I've spoken at length on this podcast about how disgusted I was to discover that Otto Frank and Frank's father application was turned away, and how close they came to be able to immigrate to America. I'm disgusted by it. But the question.
So, before we get into the clip, I should give some backstory to this. So, one of the things that Briahna Joy Gray, and she makes an excellent point about this, is because the people that are the most for Israel, the most for this genocide, the most for pushing this bloodshed against innocent people, is that they say this is a comeback for all the heinous actions that Jewish people had to encounter during the Holocaust and during when Nazis purged them. And that is, to compare that to what happened in the 1930s and 1940s Germany to what's happening now is kind of idiotic in a way. Because you're trying to frame this and try to put the blame of what Nazi Europeans did to you to a bunch of Arabs that had nothing to do with the Holocaust, nothing to do with the uprising of fascism in Germany. Arabs had nothing to do with Adolf Hitler, but they're trying to compel the two, again, to try to build sympathy and try to blackmail and try to persecute people into supportive of this Zionist regime. That's all they're doing to this. They're trying to find any means necessary, including to the point where they said that an Arab told Adolf Hitler to invade Poland. I didn't know there was that many Muslims in Germany at the time. I didn't know there was that many Muslim Arab people in 1930s Germany, as they were trying to dominate a white supremacist German folk through the Nazi regime. So that's one of the big things that they're trying to dismantle, that propaganda that somehow this is, that, going after Palestine, they're embarking the sin of what happened to them during the Nazi regime. And Briahna Joy Gray makes these excellent points, and it's going to dismantle this whole propaganda.
Is why should the actions of an anti-Semitic America and an anti-Semitic Europe be paid for by the people of Palestine who had absolutely nothing to do with the horrors of the Holocaust?
I mean, Briahna.
Oops, she did it again. Dismantled a Zionist. Got lost in his head. Oh, baby. You saw that there. He had nothing. He had nothing planned for it. Like, man. I guess it's my turn to, Like, he took a pause for that reason. He took a pause because of the fact that Briahna Joy Gray doesn't play around. This is not, a tea seminar. This is not, laughing while toasting to crumpets and Earl Grey. This is an actual conversation about the fact that we are committing a genocide, an ethnic cleansing of innocent people because you believe this is somehow coordinated to the Holocaust. You're basically imposing to the Palestinians what Nazi Germany and anti-Semitic Americans and anti-Semitic Europe did to you. This is just, it's insane. It's absolutely insane what we're doing right now, and we're continuing to fund it. So why exactly are we committing this genocide and you backing this somehow related to the Holocaust? It makes no sense.
First, let me strike at the heart of what you just said earlier, which is my empathy for Black America and the long tail of slavery that is so abhorrent and so visible and so obvious that I cannot believe we have not repaired that injustice. I want to honor that and acknowledge that. If anything,
So his best answer, again, this is trying to get him, he's trying to basically create a silver lining to make him not look like an anti-racist. Like, because if he didn't say anything, people might think of him as like, oh, he's going after the Palestinians because they're brown. But his saving grace is, well, I just want to say that I felt bad for the black people in slavery. Okay. Does that have to do with this conversation? Does that have to do, are we genociding Palestinians because of slavery? Are we killing innocent children by the thousands because of white slave owners in America because of the Louisiana Purchase? Like, what does that have to do with anything that's being mentioned here? What does that have to do with anything? Like, I'm glad you have sympathy for the people that suffered historically when it came to, slave ownership and Black America and historically, I good for you on that part, but that's nothing to do with what you're saying.
telling you I empathize with that. I was asking for mutual empathy, and I don't know if you just shared it with me, but I think you did. But you just asked a question of something that is it's just so historically inaccurate. Israel has been attacked because it's a Jewish state for decades. Now, Netanyahu's a different story. I'm not going to support him. What's happening right now?
Now, I love when people use the argument that, well, this is a Jewish state, it's the only Jewish state, and we have to protect the right of a Jewish state. Here's my compelling question to that, okay? If we really want to go down this rabbit hole. If Israel has every right to defend itself for being the only Jewish state, then why the hell are we not creating a Catholic state? Why are we not creating a Christian state? Where's the Buddhist state? Where's the Hindu state? I didn't realize religion was only contained geographically to certain locations. Because if you look all across the world, and even if your own backyard, you go across North America, in parts of Canada, different cities, different towns, they all different types of religions. There's Jewish people, there's Buddhists, there's Catholics, there's Protestants, there's Presbyterians, there's Christians, there's Muslims, there's atheists. Like, there's different credences and backgrounds all across the world. I didn't realize that we have to contain a certain religion to whatever land mass that you're occupying. I didn't realize that Israel had to be the Jewish state. Why isn't the Jewish state, New York State or Fort Lauderdale? God knows, like, it's already there. We could just easily make Fort Lauderdale. I mean, it's got beautiful beaches and oceanfront condos and shopping, and the weather is kind of nice off hurricane season. So I think it'd be great. But no, geographically, we have to make this certain area, predominantly this certain area, outside of anywhere else, They could have had part of Germany. Like, honestly, like if it was Germany that had to follow up on its actions and suffer its consequences of World War II, why didn't they take part of Germany? Why didn't they, when they split up Germany, why didn't they just exile part of it as the Jewish state of Germany? Why is it specifically the Middle East and part of Palestine that they had to occupy? No one bothers to answer that question, but here you are. Again, we have to have genocide to defend the Jewish state. Anyway, watch the rest.
Is abhorrent, and his policies are abhorrent. It's true. And you can imagine it's not an easy thing to say for someone like me, but it is true. And I'm bold and I'm being honest and I understand. I cannot tolerate seeing this any longer. But Israel has been attacked since the day it was established by the free world after the Holocaust. It was attacked by its neighbors, and they survived.
That's like saying that's
attacked how? Attacked how? I'm very confused and curious on how exactly the biggest money transfer, the fact that AIPAC exists, the fact that we have Mossad agents cultivating with the United States intelligence, Canadian intelligence, and other allied members, how exactly is Israel the victim over so many decades? Like, we sent trillions of dollars and funneled their military alliance. We gave them intelligence. We gave them business relief. We gave them we gave a partnership to them. How exactly are they the victim for all these years? Considering the fact that they cultivate an occupational camp, a military occupational zone in Gaza for so many years. The Palestinians have been living in a prison system for so many years, done by Israel and aided by us. So where exactly in the free world has every other country attacked Israel? It absolutely makes no sense. But here's Briahna Joy Gray gonna smack this down so easily, perfectly.
That's like saying that American settlers were attacked by Native Americans because they were white or because they were Christian.
Oh boy, Briahna, holy moly, boy! I'm just telling you, I'm.
That is quite an analogy there. That's quite true, actually. Like, imagine Native Americans. Imagine if indigenous people went and attacked us, non-indigenous people, for doing the same, for committing wage against them and saying that we were doing it because we were white. And, again, it's just, he has no defense on this. He has no, whoa. That's quite a turn of, why are you bringing this into that? Like, you're the one that brought up the Holocaust. You're the one that brought up what German Nazi regimes did to you, did to Jewish people in the 1940s, and trying to frame that in a way that's okay for you to purge against Gaza. And then Briahna Joy Gray brings on that perfect analogy of how we came in. We had warfare against, indigenous people. Can you imagine if they tried to do the exact same thing that you're doing? Like, that seems like a perfect analogy, but this guy's like, no, whoa. That you're no. I don't have notes for that. I didn't think you were gonna actually do something that credible.
I got to tell you, I'm expressing empathy for Palestinians, for Muslims, for Black Americans. I'm not feeling what I'm surprised, to be honest with you, and I'm offended.
What is surprising about this, Representative?
I'm just surprised. I'm surprised by the lack. I just explained it. I'm surprised by the lack of empathy of progressives relative to the Jewish people.
He is surprised by the lack of support for the Jewish people by the progressives. I mean, just it's so crazy. It's so unbelievably crazy that they're just trying to turn this again. They are running out of arguments. They're running out of stances, so that they're trying to cultivate what little they're reaching the bottom of the barrel to say the outmost landish things to defend genocide towards innocent people. And this guy even admits it. Like, I feel bad for the Palestinians, but why are you still not supportive of this genocide? Again, think about this. Think about this for instance. And even, went after Netanyahu kind of in a way. I wouldn't say in a perfect way. I didn't say that, you know, more could have been a lot more so, but he did as a politician would, probably being funded by AIPAC. Think about this. Before October 7th, before the day in question, before the day that changed everything and was the 9/11 of the Middle East times, how many Israeli citizens were protesting and retaliating against the Netanyahu regime because they knew that Netanyahu, the master war criminal that he is, was going to go after Gaza? They knew that this militarized, insane, psychopathic governance in Israel was going to jeopardize not only the Palestinian people, but the Israeli people. And the people that went to the music festival on October 7th, the victims, they're suing the Israeli army, not Palestine. They're suing the Israeli army. Why? Because even they knew that their lives were being jeopardized, because the Israeli governance does not give a shit about the Israeli people. The Israeli people and the Palestinian people want some sort of diplomacy. They want a peace agreement. They're the ones that are retaliating for a ceasefire. They're the ones that want to stop this warfare, because they're the ones that in crosshairs and are victimized and being slaughtered at high numbers because of this. They're the ones that are causing the burden of war criminals like Netanyahu. But the U.S. does not see that. The U.S. doesn't see the population that has to live through this every single day. They have not seen warfare for the true disaster of what it is. They still see this as Netanyahu versus Hamas, the David versus Goliath story. Oh, we have to do this because it's helping the Jewish people. Tell that to the dead people, the dead Semite people in Palestine that has suffered this burden. Tell that to the Jewish voices for peace in America that are almost being prosecuted for protesting for peace. Tell that to the people that are suffering here in America because of this warfare. It's so sickening. So goddamn sickening that they could stoop to this level. And how is this exactly helping Jewish people? Oh, it's helping the Jewish state of Israel. Again, how is it helping the religion? How is it helping your faith by slaughtering and massacring groups of people that had nothing to do with your persecution? And again, I'll bring this analogy along. If it's okay for the Jewish people to go after Arabs because of the horrific stances that Nazi-occupied European countries did to your people, should Christians then retaliate and fight against Hindus? Should the Catholics then go after atheists? Should we just start pillaging and slaughtering people just randomly because we feel that we're more accepted and we're more needing of defense because of this? Because that's how low you're sneaking to, so I'm going to use your logic against you. And I've done this numerous times, and people have retaliated and hated on me. I think I have like a Hebrew hex against me at this point. And I also have people that are Jewish who are unsupportive of this side, who are supportive of a peace agreement, who are supportive of a ceasefire, who have seen the slaughter, who have seen what Palestine has turned into. And they know that this has been an inside job. This is something that has been insurrected through the Netanyahu regime, peddled by the U.S. military state, peddled by the global military alliance to manufacture this war since day one. They just needed some sort of scenario to retaliate. Just like 9/11, it was the perfect opportunity to slaughter more people, to wage warfare, because now we got people so paranoid about this horrific day, but we don't even know what happened that horrific day. We're not allowed to investigate. We're not allowed to ask questions. We're not allowed to infer why exactly there was a music festival right next to a concentration camp. Why exactly the Egyptian intelligence warned Israel that there was going to be something horrific happening on that day if they bothered to do this music festival. Why exactly the victims of the music festival are suing the Israeli army. And why exactly that people are so angry at Hamas for what they did, but they're not angry at the people that funded and erected Hamas to the leadership that they are. Why exactly are people following the line to realize that Netanyahu got us to Hamas? Brought us Hamas because he was the one that told his cabinet members, hey, if you don't want Palestine to liberate themselves and form their own independence, you have to fund this terrorist group. Sounds very eerily similar to what the United States did with the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and ISIS and all forms of terrorist groups, because terrorism seems to always go back to the people that are enacting wars of terror. It almost seems like what I've been saying all along, that in order to have a war on terror, we have to first manufacture terror. We have to create these groups to keep people in paranoid states so that we can enact warfare against each other. We are all being played like pawns. And this guy is an absolute dupe to what he's saying. He doesn't even know what the hell he's saying. And Briahna Joy Gray has to, take down the revisionist history, take down this propaganda, take down this farce that we know is a farce, and try to bring some sort of logical sense to this. The fact that you are persecuted, you're going after innocent lives that had nothing to do with the Holocaust, nothing to do with the, attacks on Israel, nothing to do with anything that happened on October 7th. But you say it is worth it because you're defending the Jewish state. It's worth it because you're defending the Israeli people. Well, the Israeli people were not defended by the Israeli government. That was a failure on them. So why is there no hatred for the IDF that failed the Israeli people? Why is there no sympathy and respect for the people that are suing the IDF? Because they knew that they were going to get jeopardized going to that music festival right next to a concentration camp. That's like having the Super Bowl next to Alcatraz. God damn it. This has been a manufactured stunt from the get-go. I just wish more people saw it. More people opened their eyes and realized that this is just the exact same playbook we've been told for 20 plus years. It's time for people to wake up and realize the military-industrial complex has played us once again, and they're using the oldest trick in the book, which is Israel and Palestine, using religious context and biblical forms for business warfare. Because even as RT pointed out, Israel is strategically placed in that nation because of resources. Because Palestine, believe it or not, has a bunch of natural gas underneath it, has a bunch of mineral wealth. So, just like how we invaded Afghanistan for their mineral wealth and poppies and opium, we do with every other country on the face of the earth. We're doing it to Palestine. Do you see the pattern? Do I have to paint a picture? Do I have to do the Dateline kind of corkboard with Darn, connecting all this. It's pretty easy to figure out.